What's up, guys? I am Kevin Muller, and welcome to Cinephellas. Today will be the first installment of 7 with Kevin, where I catch up with everything that you've seen and watch some stuff that you may have missed. Since I am not a professional film critic, I have to basically take my time watching movies. You know, we're in 2025 right now, so I am catching up with 2024. I will watch the majority of stuff that I think I've missed. I can't watch everything. And then I will write a list at the end of this of my best and worst of that year. In 2023, Oppenheimer was the best movie I saw, while Dix the Musical is something I'm still trying to forget since it sits up as the worst movie I saw of that year. Anyway, let's get to it. You know, everyone loves dogs in films. You know, pick your favorite Lassie, Old Yeller, Beethoven. People just love dogs in general, but seeing them in their movies makes them ecstatic. And that is what makes Arthur the King a little bit of a miss for me. Because I feel that to make a successful dog movie, you have to make everything around that dog as interesting as that specific canine. This isn't a bad movie, it's just very mediocre, mundane, not much of a surprise. And Arthur is everything that a movie canine should be. He's smart, he's adorable, he has emotive eyes. Um, but the movie just doesn't work around him. But he has a great cast. He has Natalie Emmanuel, Mark Wahlberg, and Simu Liu, I think is his name from Barbie. But anyway, all capable actors, just with a script that they really can't do anything with. And it's a true story, by the way, and it's about a 435-mile trek, a race, an endurance race done by those actors that I mentioned. And this includes climbing, running, walking, biking, and zip lining. It's an intense race, and I feel that that part of the movie before Arthur really comes in, I was kind of more interested in that because once Arthur comes in, it just becomes predictable, and it's just because no one around the dog is as interesting as the dog. I'm not saying this is a terrible movie. It is nowhere near the worst I've seen this year, but it could have been better. It could have been more inspirational, in my opinion. It could have been better written. Oh, and Natalie Emmanuel, beautiful, beautiful Natalie Emmanuel. She utters a line in this movie that stopped me in my tracks, and I kind of had to rewind the movie for a second because I'm like, "Are you shitting me?" And then I went online. I went to Letterboxd, Reddit, and it is equally it is equally felt by many people that this line was insane. It happens in the beginning of the movie before the race begins. You'll know it if you do see it. I'm kind of recommending this if you like dogs or inspirational tales like this. I am giving this one 2.5 out of 5. Arthur is the best boy hair pieces. It has been 10 years since Michael Keaton has had a comeback. He was nominated in 2014 for Birdman, a performance that I feel should have gotten him the Oscar, but that's another video. Here he stars and also directs this time. This is his first time in the director's chair, and he has chosen a noir tale to be his first film. In the movie, Knox, played by Michael Keaton, is given a diagnosis by his doctor saying, "Listen, you have an advanced form of dementia. Your memory will completely be gone in 3 weeks. So anything you have to do, anything you have to clear up, you have to settle, please do it as soon as possible because it's not going to be like 3 weeks and then you lose your memory. You're going to lose your memory very fast in a rapid time." And Michael Keaton does this very well. This guy's a killer. He's a hitman, but you kind of feel sorry for him because it's the performance that makes you feel sorry for him. And there are two conflicts that he has to basically collide with. One involves a hit that was done shortly in the beginning of the movie that was kind of sloppy, and now a detective is on his case. I'll get to the detective in a second. And the second involves his estranged son, played by James Marsden, who comes to his father with a big problem saying, like, no one else can help me. I can't go to the cops. I can't go anywhere else. I know we're not close, but if you can get me out of this bind, I appreciate it. and you're the only one who knows how to do it. I won't tell you what the conflict is because I want you to watch this. Now, as I said, Keaton is a very good actor. James Marsden gets a little theatrical at points, but he's good. Um, the directing by Keaton is okay. It's his first film, so I'm not really going to criticize him so much. The noir stuff, the memory stuff is really good. But the detective is played by Susie Nakamura. Great actress. Great actress, plays the tough as nails, no nonsense detective that is on his case. She's smart, she's capable. And I feel that when Keaton was editing the movie, he went back and he says, she's a little too serious. Like, we should make her a little bit funnier. And that is the problem with this movie. There are tonal shifts involving her character that just knock the movie off the track. The comedy is not funny. It's lame. And it's just like, wait, what? Did she just say that? Nothing against the actress. As I said, as the toughest nails, police officer, she's great. It's just when she tries doing the comedy, it's not that good. And it's not her as a performer. It's just the writing and the directing in that part, wasn't as strong. But overall, I am going to recommend this. If you are a fan of Michael Keaton's acting, please go see this. It is a great performance. And, I would like to see him get back in the director's chair. He has something. He has it. First films are always a little choppy. It's very rare for a director to hit it out of the park. He has potential. I can't wait to see what he does again. Maybe he'll move it into a different genre, but if he wants to do a never noir, I am totally game to see what he's got. And I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Susie Nakamura hairpieces. Speaking of reliable actors, Anthony Hopkins is still out there giving us bangers every year. The guy's like in his 80s, and he won Best Actor a few years ago for The Father, a performance that is incredible in a movie that I consider a horror movie. If you haven't seen that movie, please go see it. It's great. But this time he plays Nicholas Winton. Now, who is Nicholas Winton? If you've seen the YouTube video that this movie, One Life, is based upon, it's an old man in the crowd, and there are a few people thanking him for saving their lives. And soon after, everyone in the crowd stands up and basically shakes his hand, hugs him. All those people are children that have grown up living great lives because he saved them during the Holocaust when they were kids. Heartwarming tale. So glad it got a movie. So glad they got Anthony Hopkins because he adds so much to this. Even when he isn't trying, I'm not saying he's not trying, but this isn't like a big project. It wasn't an Oscar-nominated film, but he still gives it his all. And I also want to give credit to Johnny Flynn, who plays the younger version of Anthony Hopkins, the younger Nicholas, as a man basically fighting against time to save as many lives as he can. Very heartwarming. It's a little predictable. There's really not much surprise to this. If you know the story, you're going to, you can fall asleep in this movie and you can wake up. You're like, okay, we're at this point. Either way, if you're interested in the history of the story or the man, try it. And I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Tony Hopkins hairpieces. Each passing year, you can count on getting 1, 2, or many more religious horror movies. They're cheap to make, and if they're done right, they're really good. Where do I place Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney? I placed it in the middle. For the first hour of this movie, it hooked me. I was interested. Sweeney is good. I think she's a decent actress. The mystery is well hidden, but once that mystery comes to light, that's when the movie kind of goes off the rails a little bit. It gets a little ridiculous, even for a film like this. The guy who plays the villain of the movie, he gets a little cartoony. But if you're a fan of religious horror and the Spawn of Satan, please check this out. I will say the final minutes of the movie is a one-shot with Sydney Sweeney going so hard into expressing her feral nature, and it's a great performance because she's a sweet, innocent nun in the beginning, and then she becomes just like insane with like rage and every negative emotion by the end of this thing, and she pulls it off. And if you are a fan of Sydney Sweeney, definitely check this one out. You will not be disappointed. And I'm giving this one 3 out of 5 Sister Sydney Sweeney hair pieces. Okay, that took me a couple of times to do, but yeah, 3 out of 5 for this one. Next one is A Complete Unknown, and it stars Timothy Chalamet in a role that I firmly believe is going to give him his first Oscar. I'll talk about him later, but this movie is about the beginnings of Bob Dylan. I'm not really a Bob Dylan fan. I know one or two of his songs, but I couldn't really tell you his whole catalog. This movie is a little long. It's 2.5 hours, and it feels like 2.5 hours. But you got some interesting people in this. You got Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, and you have Boyd Holbrook playing the Man in Black, aka Johnny Cash. But the one performance I want to talk about is Monica Barbaro, who is Joan Baez, who is a fellow singer, had a relationship with him, with Bob Dylan. Fantastic performance. When I saw this movie, I said to the person next to me, I'm like, I hope she gets nominated for an Oscar. I don't think she's going to get nominated for an Oscar, but she deserves it. She keeps footing with Chalamet, who is just operating on crazy levels. Yeah, very good performance, and she did get nominated for an Oscar. Again, Chalamet is fantastic in this movie. He sings, he acts like Dylan, he has his cadence. It's like watching Bob Dylan. It is a very, 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 very good performance in a good film. I think the film could have been a little stronger, but it is not bad. If you're a Bob Dylan fan, I think you'll enjoy it a little bit more. And I'm giving this one 3.5 out of 5 Edward Norton hairpieces. Okay, so the last two films are equally rated, so I'm going to talk about them both. First off is In the Land of Saints and Sinners, where it is Liam Neeson's movie. His one, he usually does two a year. This is one of them. The other one is Absolution, which I will review down the road. It's on the list. I just want to say that this year in 2025, we're going to get a Naked Gun movie, and Liam Neeson is going to star in it, and he will parody the persona that he has had since 2009's Taken. And that persona can be used to either strengthen the movie or weaken it. Those who do not know how to use that persona, they just take Liam Neeson in, they throw him into a script, and they're like, okay, it's Liam Neeson, people will come. Whatever, how shitty the script is, how bad the directing, people will come and see it. And the result is a bad Liam Neeson movie. The two last year that came out in 2023 are escaping my mind, but they were not good. But this time, I'm happy to say this works because the story is strong and all the other elements are strong in this movie. In this film called In the Land of Saints and Sinners, he is a hitman who is living a quiet life. This takes place back in the 70s. He is a World War II vet. He's lost his wife, but he's also a contract killer. But, Neeson basically has the chops to make him a sympathetic character. And his quiet life is basically interrupted by the Provisional Irish Republican Army, who does terrorist acts, and one that basically ties into the events of the film involving children. And Kerry Condon plays the leader of this squad, and Kerry Condon plays Angry Irish so well. She is the antagonist. She's kind of the leader. Great performance. Not too over the top with being the villain, but she's not shy and timid. She screams. She basically gets in people's faces. As I said, Liam Neeson's doing great work. On top of the action, he gives us a very rounded character. This movie is very Irish, and I say that as a compliment. The dialect, the way the cinematography is done by Tom Stern as the cinematographer, I want to give him credit. He makes Ireland look beautiful. It just felt like very authentically Irish. But the best part of this movie, which was an unexpected surprise for me, was the appearance of Jack Gleeson. For those of you who have watched Game of Thrones, he plays King Joffrey. And he's kind of taken a break from acting, so it was nice to see him come back. And he is hilarious in this film. He's darkly hilarious. He's a fellow hitman, so he's not a good character morally. But as a performer, I loved him. I thought he was hilarious. He keeps up with Liam Neeson. He adds a much comedic element to the film. And yeah, so I'm gonna give this one a very strong 4 out of 5 Jack Gleason hair pieces. Listen, for my last film, which is Wicked Little Letters, I just want to say I love Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman can do the uptight British thing really well, but she also kind of has like a naughty side. And in Wicked Little Letters, she plays an extremely sheltered daughter of a timid mother and a domineering father, played by Timothy Spall. The backdrop of this tale takes place in Europe during the suffrage movement. That gives the film a lot of context. So in this story, in Coleman's small little town, people are getting these letters. And these letters contain so much vulgarity, so much hate to whoever is receiving those letters. And it becomes a problem. People start reporting to the police, and we have we have a detective played by Anjana Vesana, who is on the case. And most people think in the town that the writer of these letters is a woman named Rose, who's a single mother. And that character is played by Jessie Buckley, who I also love, who also is doing great work in this movie. Coleman and her together are great. Separately in this movie, they're great. It was a joy to watch them do their thing. Jessie Buckley's character is not like the women at that time. A lot of the women at that time were very meek, timid, didn't really speak unless spoken to, or their husband spoke for them. Rose, played by Jessie Buckley, hell no. She is brash. She is confident. She is everything that woman probably wanted to be at that time, but couldn't because, they were just conditioned to be meek. As I said, Anjana Vesana is basically doing a great job playing the detective. She's smart. She's capable. She faces a lot of fucking sexism from a lot of people in the town, especially Timothy Spall's character. And speaking of the word fuck, because I just dropped that F-bomb, if any of our viewers want to go back and just do a little extra credit assignment, please count the amount of times that the word fuck is in this movie, especially uttered by Jessie Buckley's character of Rose, because I think it may rival Joe Pesci in Goodfellas or any other Scorsese film. It surprised me because, you walk into a Scorsese film, you're going to get the language. I wasn't really expecting the language of this movie, but, that's not why I liked it. It's one of the reasons I liked it, but it's also a very fun movie. It's historically accurate, and it uses that historical context to make a very lighthearted and fun film. And I am going to give this one a very strong 4 out of 5 Jessie Buckley hair pieces. Okay, that's going to wrap us up for today. Comment below. Did you agree? Have you seen these movies? Like some of these things you may not have heard of, but I want to hear from you down below. Visit the website cinephellas.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Come by the YouTube channel to watch all the latest reviews of the latest video games, movies, and television. And I'd like to thank you guys a lot. It's gonna be a nice ride going through 70 plus movies with you guys. And once again, I am Kevin Muller, and cheers.